back here to the PM Show Weekend Edition on CRN Digital Talk Radio. I'm Michael Horn. Robert Conrad is a little under the weather today, ladies and gentlemen. Should be back with us next week. And we have the great Roger E. Mosley. Saw him on Magnum PI as TC, Lead Belly, all the great shows he's been in. Found out he's been in Night Gallery. So I got to pull up that episode. What was the name of that episode, by the way? Remember?
Lagoda's Head.
Lagoda's Head?
I didn't hesitate, did I?
You did.
You jumped right up there.
So from that episode, you had your agent because she was walking down the hall and you got that light. How did you get the second gig? To me would be the toughest. After the first was tough, but then the second one to start working, what happened? Did you start working regular, or what was the next step?
You know what? I learned something from my elders, and one of the things I learned was to just do the role. And so a lot of times they would have roles where you would just come in and say one line, and some actors would be so excited about having a role that they would come in and the line might be close the door and say goodnight, and they might come in, close the door and you say good night, because this is their moment, you know.
Right.
And so I would come in, I'd say close the door and say good night and go home.
Right.
And I got kept. They said, was somebody?
This guy's
just
a natural.
Just gonna come in and do the role. You know, not want to meet the star of the show, not want to worry the director to death about, is there anything else going on? Just come in and say good night and close the door. Go get your wardrobe off. Go check it. Show up on time. Say the line and leave. And all of a sudden, you found you find yourself running into that director again. He said, "We got a one liner. Who we give?" Oh no, I know. This kid named Roger. Call him. He'll be good for this role. Call him. Good night and do it. I said, Roger, yeah. When he says good night and close the door, I want you to say good night and close the door, and then turn around and say, "But I have one other question for you. How long are you going to be here? Because I might." And all of a sudden, the directors
are adding to your script.
Adding because all of a sudden they've learned to rely on you, and they start to feel comfortable with you. And that's exactly what happened on one show, to that they kept me over and expanded the role.
Which show was that?
I don't remember what show that was.
But they did expand the role for you.
They expanded the role.
So you had a semi-regular role in the show? Was that what it was?
Right. And then the producer says, it's not going to be long before you're going to have your own show. And lo and behold, next thing I know, I got cast with Lou Gossett, Diane Sands, and a couple other people about a football show. And people started thinking of me as a star of a show as opposed to just a person on the show.
Person on the show.
And once you make that transition, when people start thinking of you as one of the regulars and one of the leads, then everybody starts thinking that way. It's funny the way
it's amazing the way that happens, isn't it? And they just, instead of thinking that this the guy that's the, I'll get this guy for this acting role, and he'll listen, all of a sudden now it's like, yeah, let's get that good lead that was in that show. What was the football show that you were on?
Something about halfback, something about something half. I don't remember the name. I can.
So you started getting a lot of series work then, right?
I started getting some series work. Then I started doing features. And I started doing movies. How does that happen?
How do you jump from television into movies?
Same way. They had a small role for the people in The New Centurions with George C. Scott, and Stacy Keach, and a whole bunch of other people. It was a big Joseph Wambach's big book, The New Centurions. They made it into a movie, and I had the role for a truck driver that they get pulled over. And the truck driver gives them some static about being arrested and what they have to go through to get this truck driver to be arrested. So they sent 3 guys, and the director, Dick Fleischer, was doing a really big shot, and he was really bogged down. And we were all supposed to go and read for him. So we all read for him, and then he said, okay, go downstairs, we're going to make a decision. So we were all sitting down there. This was like 10 o'clock in the morning. Now it's 11 o'clock. Now they served us lunch. Now it's 12 o'clock. And ironically enough, I was living in Watts. I'm thinking about traffic is getting bad on the freeway. When is this guy going to come and tell us? Because I'm ready to go home. I do not only not want to not get the role, but also be caught in traffic.
You're worried about traffic?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've been there all
So
day.
everybody else was sitting down there. I went upstairs and asked him what the holdup was. And the assistant director said, this guy wants to know, have you made a decision yet? And Dick Fleischer went, yeah, we'll take him.
Just because you asked the
Just
question.
because I asked the question, just because I
That's how
walked
you got
upstairs.
the motion picture?
Huh?
That's what you
Yeah,
got?
that was a big motion picture.
We'll take him.
That was a big, Dick Fleischer, one of the biggest directors in the business. He gave me another job.
That was great.
He gave me another job. But the next job I got was with him and John Wayne. So
You worked with John Wayne?
I work with John Wayne. It
Oh.
never ends. It never ends. Speaking of role
Maybe you
playing,
are older than I am.
Speaking of role playing,
Yes. Hang on, we're going to hit it straight ahead. Stay with us. We're going to get to this story from role playing with TC. Stay with us.